Hey, GodCubing here, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about making your F2L more efficient by reducing regrips and rotations. Let's get into it. Alright, there are two types of cases that are difficult to solve the intuitive way. One, where the edge and corner are touching and in the top layer, and the other, where one or both of the pieces is unsolved and in a slot. Today, we're going to be looking at these types of cases, and usually people who use intuitive F2L have very inefficient solutions for these that require lots of rotations and regrips that are unnecessary. The first case we're covering is the one where the pieces are paired, but in the wrong way. If this is your last slot case, I recommend ignoring this back pair here, and just pairing these two up with an R', U2, R, and then solving them with an R, U, R' insert, using your left index finger to push, and then solving this pair back into the back slot. But if you're trying to influence EO, I recommend pairing it with F moves, and you're going to want to use your thumb for these, your right thumb. I recommend pairing it up with an F, U2, F', and then you have an easy R, U, R' insert. If one of your adjacent slots is unsolved, then I recommend just using that slot to break it up and canceling into the insert, like that. If you get it from this angle, then you'll probably want to pair it up with an R, U2, R' like that, and then insert with F moves, or just rotate and insert with L moves, or if you're trying to solve it into the back slot with R moves. And if you get it from the back angle like this, and you have your slot into the back right, then what you can do is you can pair them up using an R', U2, R, and then insert with this cool insert where you go wide F, R, wide F'. If you get it from this angle, it's just the mirror of the one I did last. So what you do is you solve it with L and U moves instead of R and U moves. And then here you do an F', L, F. If you get this case and your slot is in the back left, I recommend just rotating and doing the solution I just showed for when it's in the back right. Alright, the next case is this one where the white is facing the side and you don't have the same stickers on top. And the way you solve this one is pretty easy once you get the hang of it. You just put it in the back like this with your slot in front, and then you hide the corner like this and move your edge over one, and then unhide the corner, and you've got them paired up for a 3-move insert. Considering how good that last solution was, if you get it from this angle, I recommend just rotating and doing the same solution with L moves. In fact, the solution for this case is so good, I recommend rotating so that the edge is oriented, meaning that the side color of the edge matches one of the side center colors. And then using this intuitive solution. You can rotate to either a back slot or a front slot, depending on which benefits you. Think about rotating into the back slot unless it's your last slot, in which case you should probably rotate so that it's a front slot so that it's easier to influence EO. For this case, there's a pretty easy solution from this angle, which involves breaking it up like this. Doing an R, a U2, and an R' pairs it up by moving the corner over the edge. And then it's rotationless from here, and you don't even need to regrip. But if you get it from this angle, then you can either rotate and do the same solution using L and U moves, or you can just do a sledgehammer, and it sets you up into this case, which is really easy. If you get it from this angle, you can just do an lefty sledge, and then solve it with a 3-move insert. But if you get it from this angle, then you can just do the same thing from the back, by moving the corner over the edge by a U2, and then inserting. If you get it from this angle, I recommend just rotating, and then solving it like this, into either the front slot or the back slot, depending on which suits your needs. If you get this case from the back, I recommend rotating, since it's hard to do a sledgehammer using B moves. And if you get it from this angle, then what you can do is the same thing just from the back, like that. This is one of my least favorite F2L cases, and if you get it from this angle, you can insert the corner with a inverse sexy, and then do a U move that sets you up into this case, which is really easy. And if you get it from this angle, then there's another really easy way to pair it up by doing an F, inverse sexy, F', and it pairs it up, and then you can just insert it. If you get it from this angle, then you can solve it with an F inverse sexy F prime, just like the last case. If you get it like this, where you're solving into the back left, you can just do the same thing, but from the back. So for this case, just check if the edge is oriented, and if it's not, then do the F inverse sexy F prime. But if it is, then insert the corner and solve this case. Unless you get it from this angle, where the edge is not oriented, and you're solving into the back slot. In which case, I recommend rotating either to the front or back, depending on which suits your needs. This case is a tricky one. If you get it from this angle where the edge is misoriented, then you can move the corner over the edge like we did with another case, but this time do it with just a single U move. And then you can either insert with F moves or rotate and insert. But if the edge is oriented and you get it like this, then you can do this cool solution where you put the corner in like that, do a D move, and insert the edge, undo the D move, and undo the R move, and then you have them paired up to insert. And you can do this solution as long as your edge is oriented. Like that. As long as your edge is misoriented, you can use the solution I showed where you move the corner over the edge and then rotate, either into a front or a back slot, depending on which is better for you. By the way, I think it's important to understand how the cube works, so try and figure out how each case works intuitively. And go explore yourself for other solutions for these cases on websites like AlgDB. That concludes this F2L video. Like the video if any of these solutions help you, and comment down below which one was your favorite. There's a part 2 coming back next week, where I'll be covering cases with pieces and slots. Don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss it. Here's a bonus tip for watching until the end. I recommend practicing these in solves by recognizing the case without rotating or doing U moves, or even moving your head around the cube, because that's not what you do in a real solve. And then execute that case as fast as you can. That way you can get it into your muscle memory through repetition. And then recognize the next F2L case the same way and execute it as fast as you can. And do this for all of your F2L pairs. And I know what you're thinking, but aren't pauses bad? Doesn't that slow me down? But don't worry, you'll learn to recognize cases really fast by doing this. And that is how you can get really fast with your F2L recognition. And to avoid regrips while doing these algs, just learn the finger tricks and then practice it that way. I don't have a finger tricks video yet, but I will soon. Use J-perms or Brody the Cubers now and figure out the finger tricks to do it regripless for yourself. That's what I've been practicing this week. Thanks for watching. Bye.